Hello, loves. It's Shauna L. Francis. Today is December 9th, 2022. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me for today's Ascension Daily Update. We are talking about the negative reptilian influence that's been happening on this planet for tens of thousands of years. So we've really taken a twist here, a turn, my mission kicking into gear here. According to Melchizedek, I still have something coming mid-December to late December. And I asked about this today. And I also talked with one being today, a full-bred reptilian from the Sirius star system. More background history type stuff. Really fascinating. And it's kind of going into areas that make me uncomfortable in terms of, well, I'll get into it. I just don't know a lot. I don't know a lot of what's already out there with some of this stuff. So, but I'll talk about that. So I'm still feeling under the weather. It's actually coming on a little more strongly today. We had dinner reservations that I canceled for tonight, lunch plans that I've canceled for tomorrow, going to just lay low, not feeling really super great. I don't know what this is, but it's kind of entrenching itself more deeper into my throat. I think I've got a COVID test laying around in one of these boxes here. I want to see if I can find it tonight. All right, but I'm happy to come through, and I'm really happy that you're here supporting me, watching these updates, living this with me, going through all these updates and all the transformation that goes along with it. Okay, team, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So first thing I did today when I sat down to meditate is I wanted to check in with Melchizedek. How are we doing? What's going on here? Am I continuing to do these kind of interview style channelings that I've been doing? How am I doing energetically? And they said, we really want you to take care of yourself, Shauna. The itching in your throat, your energy level, food intake, water intake, sleep, rest. This is a time where you are best to be nurturing your body, taking extra care to be healthy. There's a lot changing with you energetically. You don't even realize the acclimation that is underway right now and the energy work that's been going on behind the scenes with you. I guess that makes sense. And they continued here. This will have an impact on your physicality, and it's important that you honor this and respect it. We recommend that you lay low, less activity, dear one, more time for rest and being quiet. I really wanted to get out tonight. I really wanted to do it, but after I got done with this whole process, I decided, yeah, this will probably be best to just, kind of lay low this weekend. There's still so much unpacking that I need to do anyway. And, just be ready for whatever's coming next here. I said, thank you, Melchizedek. I appreciate your guidance and support. I said, can you talk more about what's coming up for me more toward the latter half of the month? And am I going to just continue to be doing these interviews? And they said, Shauna, we recommend that you stay the course. Continue with your channeling of your star family. Continue to be in the halls of Amenti. And please try not to worry about what's coming. Let's take this a day at a time and be in the moment. I've heard that so much. Just know, dear one, that everything has been taken care of. No stone left unturned. Dear one, nothing you need to worry about. The more I hear these kinds of things from the guides, our guides, the more I believe it. Truly, as I surrender to this and I just allow and just roll with whatever's coming my way, things go more smoothly. I feel better. It's just a complete 180 from what I used to do, what I used to be. I mean, I was an account manager, marketing director, project manager by trade for over 20 years. So I used to, very much pride myself on my ability to plan and to organize and to have projects be under control and things be going smoothly. no chaos, everything, no stone left unturned in my own way. And now life is completely opposite. And they warned me, and they said the second half of your life's going to look nothing like the first half. And they were right about that. So I'm feeling good about this. All right. So I went ahead and said goodbye to Melchizedek, and I did my descent down to 10 floors down to the basement, got out, turned the lights on, found my desk. And it's so funny, this desk that I'm imagining down here is just this awful old metal desk like you'd imagine in an old newsroom or like an old police station from 1977 or something. It's like a beige colored metal desk. I don't even know why. Nothing fancy. So I sat down, and immediately it's that tap on the shoulder, so I know somebody's ready to come through. And I was barely even ready myself, and I hadn't meditated very long before I, got down in this basement ready for these interviews. So I took a few moments, and I just started crying. I just started bawling, and I don't know why. So sitting in that chair, knowing somebody's waiting to tell me more, I just, the tears just started flowing, and I'm not feeling good. And this has been a tough few days working with this information and these energies, I guess. And just also, remove this, the beauty of these beings coming through and their love and these connections. It's like the connections that we have, through this channel. It opens my heart so much. And more, if I'm feeling sad, like the tears just start flowing. 4 years ago, that was not happening. But now I just allow that to happen, and I welcome it. So I sat there and I cried for a few minutes, and I was like, I'm not sure why I'm crying, but I'm just going to allow this to happen. And, after a few minutes, it subsided and I was ready to go. So this being that came through, very much reptilian looking, beige-ish color. The face is a little bit more elongated, and I can't see super details, it's like kind of more of a general feel. Got the sense that this was masculine, but, like a velociraptor type face, kind of a little bit more elongated, not so flat. All right. So I'm just, getting through this sadness, and I'm, getting ready to start here. And I said, thank you so much for coming through today and having a seat. Do you have a name? And this being said, Rake, like R-A-K-E, Rake. Wonderful, Rake. Thank you. Can you tell me more about who you are, what you are? Excuse me. And I said, are you GFL? Is there anything you want to say about you? And this being said, Shauna, I'm a full-bred reptilian from the Sirius star constellation, that general area. I've been with the Galactic Federation of Light since I was a baby, since I was very small. I was raised on a ship. This is all I've ever really known. I have a beautiful life here doing really good work, important work. It makes me feel good, and I'm so happy, Shauna, to be supporting you with your mission. It's a big job, dear one, but know that you have a big team to help you, and you're doing wonderfully. We're so thankful for your service. I said, thank you so much, Rake. That's so nice of you to say. I said, what would you like to talk about today? And there was just a huge pause. I mean, like 10 minutes went by where I'm not hearing anything. I'm like, hello, what's going on here? And I prayed to be a clear and concise channel, and I reached out to my team for help, clearing out any debris out of my field. But between kind of like maybe the sickness being low energy and the crying and whatever this is, and just being, feeling kind of the weight of all of this, whatever that was. So it was really tough. So it took a couple of tries to really get the strong connection. And we started and stopped like twice. All right. And then we were finally ready to go. And he said, he said, Shauna, let me start off first by saying we share in your concerns about this information coming out publicly, with you being the one to bring the messages. We've done everything to help protect you. And while the energies are right and the level of consciousness is at the appropriate level to disseminate this information, as your team has said previously, this will take a toll on you, dear one. This will not be easy, even for the strongest among you. So it is okay to cry, and it is okay to mourn what you're leaving behind and where you're going. This is what makes you human. It shows that you care and that your heart is open. You're allowing yourself to be vulnerable. You're also allowing yourself to be carried and to be loved. It's so sweet. It makes me want to tear up even as I read that again. And he continues here. And you're trusting that those of us who support you on this mission will be here for you at the right time in the right place. Think of this, Shauna, how far you've come in your trust and your ability to be open-hearted, your ability to be vulnerable. We commend this, dear. We are happy for you. It's so nice to hear. I said, thank you so much, Rake, for that. All right, so then we get into it. Again, this is more kind of background history stuff, laying the foundation. He says here, when the off-planet reptilians first came to visit, the earthbound reptilians were here and established. So if you remember, and this is me talking off the cuff here, if you remember when Melchizedek came in, they talked about, and the link that I had mentioned yesterday and some of the information we got yesterday from the people who came through, we have earthbound reptilians and then we have off-planet reptilians that came and they combined forces and really have been the mainstay here that's been, doing what they're doing to humanity. So they pooled their resources here. So Rake is talking about this now. When the off-planet reptilians came, the earthbound reptilians were well established. And he says here, the earth was quite a different place. We are talking about Lemuria. All right, Lemuria. So this is the part that makes me uncomfortable. Mu, Lemuria, Atlantis. Lemuria being supposedly, nobody really knows for sure, but it's like people like me channeling, and it's dreams, and it's these knowings, and it's kind of our guides and our memory of these things as we reincarnate here, of being in these places originally. Lemuria, New Lemuria, it's supposed to be a really big deal. I mean, I know people who have very strong connections to Lemuria. And in fact, in the halls of Amenti, as I'm working with that aspect of myself from 200,000 years ago, that female reptilian, she's on Lemuria. And I have always thought of Lemuria and Atlantis, well, especially Lemuria and Mu, of not being, of having just humans on that continent. And this is going to be in the Pacific Ocean, supposedly, when Atlantis was in the Atlantic Ocean. So big, huge continents that are no longer here. Lemuria, they thought, how did lemurs get from here to there? Well, there must have been some kind of a land bridge or some kind of a landmass here. So that's how Mu became Lemuria. And I think that was coined in the late 1800s or something. I haven't done a whole lot of research. But I am really interested to dive into this further. And if anybody wants to do any fact checking here or looking into this and share with the group in YouTube or Facebook or something on my Starseed Lifestyle group, that would be amazing. So Lemuria, reptilians on Lemuria here on Earth. This continent is no longer up above water and at the surface, Rake continued. This has long been buried beneath the oceans and toppled over by other land masses. So this is not something that can be detected or be found again by modern day scientists. Yeah, it's, why not? We're talking about reptilians. There must be Lemuria or, Atlantis. That is becoming more and more real for me as I get into the halls of Amenti and the Ark of the Covenant and see these lifetimes. And, these things really resonate. They don't feel made up. I don't think I could make this stuff up. So it's just really coming to grips with this as being a part of our history here. The reptilians, he said, that were already on planet Earth had established far-reaching colonies and cities. They had an established way of life. They were thriving in terms of reproduction, living well, having food and water. Their life was sustained by the planet and the land upon which they lived, and it would be described as a fairly harmonious existence. So I went back tonight and I listened to what Melchizedek had to say before about the history of reptilians on the planet Lemuria, the visiting off-planet reptilians in this. So before, according to Melchizedek, before the other reptilians visited, these reptilians on the earth had already figured out how to control humanity, and how to, I assume that they were using humans as food source, maybe also deluge, the fear energy. So they had already figured all that out and were doing it on their own terms. And then the off-planet reptilians caught, at least one species out there caught wind of this and came to check it out. All right, and I'll continue here with what Rake had to say. It was quite a shock to the earthbound reptilians to be visited by these highly advanced, technologically advanced reptilians who were not of Mother Earth. Everything that you could expect occurred when this contact was made. Absolute fear, disbelief, chaos, confusion, even anger. But quickly, the reptilians who were visiting from off-planet established dominance and squashed any of the earthly reptilians' ideas on retaliation or attack. Relatively quickly, the two reptilian species were able to forge a partnership based on mutual goals. The off-planet reptilians understood immediately that Earth was abundant in all kinds of things that they wanted, but especially the luge. A pecking order was established. Assignments were given out. Planning, preparation. Working relationships were hierarchical with a chain of command. The humans never saw it coming, and they never had a chance, is what Rake said. So once, these ideas came together and coalesced, it was just, we never had a chance. And again, the visiting reptilians had done this in other places. This wasn't their first rodeo, so they knew what they were doing. All right. He says here, there was one other off-planet reptilian race who came later. The first visiting reptilian race and the earthly reptilians were able to thwart them, fight them off, and got them to leave the planet. There was not any room for collaboration. Their system was in place and they were not about to share it with any other species. In those early days, he says here, reptilians were very good at evading most of humanity's knowledge. Most of humanity was unaware that they were sharing this planet with this type of species. There were a few in leadership positions in the human race who were in contact with the united reptilian species. Even early on, there were negotiations taking place, trades, promises being made. Just like we learned with Hitler and working with the reptilians for all these things, immortality, enlightenment, and it didn't end well for him. And he continues here. Greed became the overriding stance on both sides. At first, the human leaders were made to think that the reptilians were friendly and that they were working on behalf of their good. Trust was formed. Bonds were formed with communications mainly being telepathic. Extremely intelligent and conniving reptilians easily won over the hearts and the trust of the human leaders, their human counterparts. And as the trust became deeper and the bonds became stronger, this is when the reptilians used their power of suggestion, mind control, energetic manipulation to basically control these humans. Really without their knowledge, without their explicit knowledge or consent. Very sly and sneaky, he says. The humans may have had a fleeting thought that something was off, but the promises of abundance and riches and power and immortality overrode those small voices that were giving off warning signals. I think we still do that today, don't we? We ignore that little voice that say, hey, you want to think about this? From there, it was easy for the reptilians to architect their plan and carry it out because basically You have humans who were complicit to these plans, even though they didn't realize that they were being controlled and manipulated on an energetic level. Then there was a nice pause here, and I said, thank you so much, Rake, for this information, and it's in alignment with what I have learned before through the halls of Amenti. So yeah, working again in the halls, this kind of thing, very much in line with what I have seen there on Lemuria here. And I said, thank you, Rick. Is there anything else you'd like to explain? And he says here, Shauna, the bigger point here, and thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you, is that this wasn't hard for reptilians to do. The hierarchical structure of their societies, strong chains of command, dutiful and unquestioning following on the reptilian side, matched with their incredible technologies and extreme intelligence and conniving natures, made humans easy targets from the very beginning. Okay, tens of thousands of years later, these programs are still operating. This is how long this influence has been in place, so you can see why they're not going to want to go easily here. And even as I'm just reading this out loud here, this is making sense because it sounds like as I was a reptilian on Lemuria, I had something to do with architecting these programs. Now, in that lifetime, as that female, by then at least, I was over it. I was done with this whole thing. I was trying to teach the two kids that I had about love and respect and compassion. And basically, from what I understand in the halls of Amenti, and I haven't really had a chance to share this yet, I was killed for this by my partner, by my male counterpart. This is how frowned upon it was to be questioning authority. Very hierarchical, very much an extreme dominating type, structure where you are not questioning authority. You're just doing as you are told. And I was, by that time, so done with the whole thing. But I guess leading up to that lifetime, I was probably completely on board with this and did all kinds of awful things. And here I am today, making amends, working through the karma here, and helping bring to light this information. I would have never have guessed this for myself, ever. So anyway, like I said, I'm so glad that you're here and you're supporting me here through all this. I appreciate you so much. All right. And just to wrap this part up, he says, humans have kept them in luge for so long and it has been relatively easy. This is how long this influence has been in place. So you can see why they are not wanting to go easily here. All right, so they're not readily giving up. Yes. Okay. I said, thank you so much, Rake, for your time and your information. Appreciate you. And then I kind of checked in with Melchizedek. And I had said, wow, this was a tough channeling. Just for that, relatively small amount of channeling that took me over an hour, just kind of really feeling into it and allowing that information to come through. And I had asked Melchizedek about it. I'm like, what was going on with today's channeling? And they said, Shauna, it's natural that there will be times that you'll have more of a clear connection than other days. And there are many, many factors that play here. Please do not worry yourself about this. You did an amazing job and everything is correct and we encourage you to share it. All right. So the saga continues. I do expect to make a video tomorrow. I'm wishing all of you a wonderful weekend and staying healthy and warm if you're experiencing winter right now. All right, Tim, I'm going to let you go. And thanks again. I love each and every one of you. Mwah.